Hello, this is Norma and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making some kala, or some people call it puff puff. If you've never made kala before, you need to listen to some of the things you need to do. So they have two kinds of yeast. There's one that's active dry yeast and there's one that's instant dry yeast. So the active dry yeast, you can either put some water and a little bit of sugar, or you can put some milk and a little bit of sugar, and you have to put it in your microwave or have it warm, and it will activate the yeast. Because if the yeast is too hot, it kills it. If the yeast is not hot enough, it will not activate. And I will show you a trick of how you know the exact warmth that you need for your water or your milk. Another thing you need to know when you open your yeast, if you're not using like the little package and you open the yeast like this right here, these big jars, you have to keep it in the fridge. Don't just take it and put it back in your cupboard. And also you need lots of oil when you're going to fry your kala, because if you don't put a lot of oil in the pot, it will not rise to the top and it will soak in a lot of the oil, and you don't want that. Another thing you need to know, when you're frying your kala, do not crowd your pot, because once you crowd your pot, what it does, it reduces the temperature of the oil, and then it starts to soak in a lot of the oil. And you should not have your oil too hot, because it will brown the outside and inside will not be cooked, and if it's too low, it will take a long time and just be soaking in the oil. So it's best to fry around medium high on your stove. We're about to start. I'm going to be using the instant one today, so it don't have to be proofed. You can just mix everything with the dry ingredients, and I'm going to be using water. So I'm going to mix it all together, the dry ingredients, and then I'm going to put the water. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to start with my salt. I'm going to use half a teaspoon salt. I don't like my yeast to be sitting with the salt, so that's the first thing that I put in my bowl. And another thing, when you're fixing when you're baking or you're cooking and you want to use different measurements, you see how this is overflowing? That's not how you want to measure it. You want to go across like this with your knife, and now you know you have the right measurement. If you just dip it in and it's just high up, it's never accurate. So this is half a teaspoon of salt. When I scraped it with my knife, you see how much salt is left. So if you don't do it that way, your recipe will be completely off, because if you don't do it, it's almost an entire teaspoon of salt instead of just the half a teaspoon that you need. So always make sure you level it out. I'm going to be using 2 cups of flour, and I'm just going to dump it in there. I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm going to be using 1/4 tablespoon of nutmeg. Now another thing you need to know, nutmeg, if you use it in high quantity, it can be poisonous. So you have to be careful how much nutmeg you put in your food, or how much nutmeg you put when you're baking stuff. I know people used to doing stuff the way they do it, but if you don't believe me, everybody has Google. Google it and see that if you use too much nutmeg, it can be poisonous. So be careful with your nutmeg. Now I'm going to show you, we're going to stir it up. I'm going to stir all the dry ingredients. And do not prepare your water or your milk until you're ready to pour it in, because if you use the trick that I'm going to show you and you set it out, then it's going to get cold. So now that I've done that, I'm going to take my measuring cup I need 1 cup of water in total. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my measuring cup and I'm just going to have 1/3 of water, and it's going to be boiling water. So you take it and it should be boiling. You can either do it in your microwave or you can do it on your stove. And after it starts to boil, you take it out and then you fill the tap. You take tap water and you fill it up to 1 cup. And that's how you know it's the right temperature. So take your cup, put 1/3 water, boiling water, and then take tap water to finish it off up to a cup. And you have the perfect temperature that you need for your color. So let me heat this up and we'll be right back. I have my 1/3 cup of boiling water, and I'm just going to take tap water and bring it up to 1 cup. So that is it. It's the 1 cup. And when you put your hands in there, it's warm, but it's not boiling hot. So that's a trick of how to know exactly how you want your water when you're ready to make your color. Now let's go on to mixing the color. I like to mix my color with my hand. So I will put a little bit of the water, not all, and then just start stirring it in. See how it's starting to look? So we have a little bit more water. And it's perfect. And we're just going to mix it all together. I've mixed it, and this is it. So I'm going to cover it because you want it to double the size. I have my foil paper. I'm just going to cover it with foil. And you want it to be in the warm, dark place. So my oven is not on, but I'm going to put it in there. Now that I put my foil paper, I'm going to put my dish towel and just put it in my oven, and it will be there for 1 hour, and we'll be back. It's been an hour, and I took my dough out of the oven. See how it looks? So you can use your hand to fry it, or you can use a spoon. But if you want to use a spoon, it's best you dip it in some oil. It slides out. So I'm going to show you both, the way I do it with my hand, or if you want to do a spoon. The goal is to keep it round. The thing about puff puff or color, it has its own mind. Some of them, as it's frying, will flip over, but some, as you try to flip it, it would just be going back to the way it is. So you will have some time trying to turn it around. So I have my oil going. I'm recording myself, so you have to bear with me as I'm frying, taking my hand in there, trying to explain and trying to have my lights on the pot. So just bear with me as we start to fry. If you're going to use your spoon, the goal, I say, is to make it round. So you can make it round like this and then just dump it in the oil. Let me check my oil and see if it's hot enough. Yes, it's hot, and it's time to start frying because you see it's floating to the top. So that's the one I did with a spoon, but I'm more comfortable doing it with my hand. So I'm going to take this one out and show you how I do it with my hand. For my hand, I just put the dough in my hand, and then I just squeeze it out. Squeeze it through my 2 end finger. This is it when I use my hand to put it in the oil. I think it's easier for me to manage the shape of the color when I use my hand than when I use my spoon. But you can use either way, whatever works for you. I need a little more time to fry, and we're going to take that out. So you see how simple it is to make some color. It's ready. I'm taking the second batch out, and I'm draining it on some paper towel. My color is all ready. I have some hot sauce in the middle I'm going to be dipping it with. And let me open one of them so you can see what the middle looks like. So you see how easy it is to make the color. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Hit that notification button so each time I upload you will be notified. Bye bye.